welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Cowboys Fan Show. Tyler Ortega, Scott Jeter here alongside me, and we'd like to welcome in our Fan of the Week, making his second consecutive appearance, like your fifth, sixth time on the show.
That's
Good
correct.
friend of the program, Adriel Villa. So, Mr. Trade Des Bryant, Mr.
He's here because we like to argue.
Hold on. Let's go through the list here. We're trading Dez. We're benching Dak. We're trading Bryce and bringing Tony back.
There you go. Yeah.
Adriel, in your defense, I said cut Tyrone Crawford at the beginning of the season. He looked fantastic last night, but $9 million.
There was one game.
$9 million. No, true.
It was one game. Anyways,
we did.
Let's move right along.
Emotional
Let's go ahead, guys, and have a look at last Monday night's game against the Cardinals. Let's have a look at what went wrong, what went right, something that we kind of expected going into this game. The Cowboys already thin secondary, going to get torn up by Carson Palmer and Larry Fitzgerald, namely. Fitz was all over the place. The Cowboys had absolutely no answer for him. As we mentioned before the break, he had 13 catches, 149 yards, and a touchdown. Scott, why was this such a bad matchup for Dallas?
To be honest with you, it really wasn't. I mean, I'm not complaining about our defense on this one. I mean, Skandrick almost pulled the pick away from him, but I mean, those powerful hands that Fitz has got, he yanked it right out of his hands right there. He was getting open all night. But I mean, that's what Fitz does. I mean, I was a lot happier this week about the way that we played than last week. I think it was a major improvement, and I'm not even mad about the game in Denver right there. When we didn't suit up enough guys, we didn't have enough help out there. You can't account for the injuries that are going to happen in the first quarter. And I mean, you can throw in guys like Xavier Woods, who's a safety by trade into the slot, who's for his first NFL game. You're going to get eaten up. So you see that these guys hit the books hard. They did a much better job. I mean, you're going against a Hall of Famer right there,
right.
and the coverage looked good. So to be honest with you, I'm not the least bit upset with our guy. I'm actually really happy with our guys right now, especially Jordan Lewis right there. Guy looked amazing. Future's so bright that I got to wear shades. I mean, Fitz is going to do that to you because he's Fitz, but I mean, you can't complain. It wasn't because of bad defense.
Yeah, and you know what I think it was last night? Fitz on Anthony Brown. It was kind of like the master taking the pupil to school there.
Yeah.
It was just an all-around world-class performance by Larry Fitzgerald. As we said, one of the best to ever do it here at the wide receiver position. Adriel, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I feel like Cardinals had a lot to prove this game. They really did, especially against a struggling offense with Dallas. For the most part, I feel like you have to be careful with Lawrence because the man is a beast, but he does gas out. You've seen him get in substitutes so many different times throughout the game, and you figure, can this man hang all 4 quarters? And the fact of the matter is that he's only human. I'm not sure whether or not he can do it. Fitzgerald, he's always going to be the man. He's the go-to man for the Cardinals. You can see every time he got the ball, his possession, he did work. Another thing was that I realized is the time of possession. Dallas only had the ball for 25 minutes. They only ran 45 plays, and they looked flawless. They did. After the first half, they looked like they were flawless, absolutely.
Yeah, now, during that speech right there, you touched on DeMarcus Lawrence. Let's go ahead and get into this now. Scott, you said it last week that somebody other than DeMarcus Lawrence needed to get in there and create the pressure. Well, Carson Palmer, I mean, he tore us up, but at the same time, I feel like Dallas defense was constantly in the pocket. They had 11 quarterback hits as a team, 6 of them by DeMarcus Lawrence. Go ahead and touch on that front 3 pass rush.
Okay, first of all, yeah, I love DeMarcus Lawrence. He doesn't gas. What happened is, I mean, obviously the first couple of years, I mean, he's a rookie, second-year player. Third year he's dealing with a suspension to start, so he didn't get to practice. He probably came out of that a little bit out of shape, and he had a back injury. So, I mean, just there's nothing you can do about that last year. This year, he's killing it. So this is one of my keys of the game last week is, I mean, DeMarcus Lawrence, finally healthy. He's that war daddy that we've been looking for. That's why we drafted him. Yeah. I think he went like 34 overall when we picked him up in the draft. This is the guy that we wanted to lead this pass rush. He's having a contract. It's a contract year. He's having a career year right here, but he needs help right there. I mean, he's going to start picking up the double teams. I mean, I think, is he the leader in the league right now? Is he the sack leader right now?
6.5.
Standing sack leader right now. Every opposing coach is going to know that moving forward right now, and he's going to start seeing double teams. What I need to see, and this is one of the keys that I said to the game last week, was I need other players around him to start getting pressures to take the pressure off of him. Okay, you want to double team this guy? Great. Malik Collins is going to sit you down. Okay, what do you have? 2 sacks last night?
2 sacks for Malik.
So, I mean, yeah, that's the key to the game right there. You can't double team DeMarcus Lawrence if you got to deal with, let's say, Tyrone Crawford coming up the middle with Malik Collins playing the way that they are. You know?
Yeah, so what do you think Dallas needs to do to consistently have that dominant front seven, Adriel?
I feel like every coach from now on is going to try to steer towards Lawrence. They're going to try to say, what can we do to stop this man, which leads other people to get in the backfield. This is actually really good. It creates a sense of urgency of having to step up your defense. I feel like if Lawrence can stay healthy between here and maybe the next 4 games, Dallas will be looking pretty unstoppable.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's the key right there. The tackles, again, they just got to keep playing the way they're playing. I mean, I was impressed with it last night. I think that we all were. Yeah. Tyrone Crawford actually looked really good. I'm going to apologize to Tyrone Crawford right now. I'm sorry that I doubted you. Just the same thing. The man's had trouble staying healthy. He's always got the shoulder issue. You know, I mean, ankle in camp this year. So I'm like, oh my gosh. I mean, this guy is constantly injured. But he's a defensive captain for a reason. I felt like he was a little too expensive, but his contain last night was perfect. Yeah. I mean, nobody was running past this guy. He was getting pressures as well. So it's what are you going to do? I mean, when both those guys are firing like that and the tackles are getting that push up the middle, and it's going to take, I mean, this is a young secondary. We got to help them out, guys. You know?
Yeah. So I want to know, just real quick before we go to break, Adriel, after that Cowboys win last night, who are we cutting? Who are we trading? Who are we bringing back?
That's a good question. You know what? We don't cut. We don't trade anyone. If anything, I feel like Orlando Scandrick, he can kind of either make the game happen for you or ruin the game for you. There was some instances where it was a pass interference on Larry Fitzgerald. He would probably be the only person I have under the scope right now, him and Heath. Other than that, I think the Dallas Cowboys have reassembled themselves. They took it back to the locker room. The coach gave it to him and let him know that this is not Dallas Cowboys football, and last night they proved that. So
one thing real quick, Jeff Heath, what do we do with Jeff Heath? Because obviously it seems as though Jeff Heath is the weak link in the Cowboys secondary. I mean, there's holes all around. It's like Swiss cheese out there.
Yeah, I'd agree with that statement.
I feel like Jeff Heath is the biggest liability. So what can Dallas do to either A, upgrade at that position, or B, help Jeff Heath just come around?
You know, that's a really tough question right there, actually, because Heath's not a very big guy, so he's going to struggle over the middle with these tight ends. I mean, who are you going to replace him with? Xavier Woods?
That's right.
You know, right now Kevin Frazier is mainly just a special teams player, but he's a big guy. He's a hard-hitting guy. Jeff Heath has had some serious games where he killed it. I mean, playoffs, Green Bay last year, killed it. But I just think that he's better as a rotational player. Like I said, he's not a very big guy. He's going up against these very large, very big tight ends. I mean, these guys are just, they can eat him up. So I think that you have a more solid rotation. I think you help him out. You know, which is kind of ridiculous because really where he was getting eaten up was in the first quarter when he was fresh. You know, but that's really all you can do. I mean, who else do we have? You know, Xavier Woods is a rookie, and don't get me wrong, Woods is playing lights out, and I love the guy. I like to see him on the field a little bit more, but he's played well in rotation, just like Heath did, and we gave him a chance. So, I mean, no matter who you put in there. I mean, it's not like we have somebody that we can say this guy's playing better than Heath right now. Let's get him in there. You know?
Right. So we're going to take a quick break, ladies and gentlemen. We will be right back to take your questions from social media. When we return, this is the Cowboys Fan Show.